In this channeled message from the angels, they tell us that the rules are changing to support our ascension, that we are entering crunch time, and you've probably been feeling some of what I'm about to talk about. So welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Ann Tucker. I'm a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm, and that means I raise my awareness up as high as I can go, and then a little higher, I connect, and the messages start to come through. And I transcribe them, and I share them here with you guys on YouTube. And today's message is about if you have been feeling recently that things are chaotic out in the world, that there's a ton of polarity and that there's a lot of friction, and that could be really personal friction. It could be that you're experiencing, a lot of anxiety or stress or tension in your own life, or it could be that you're experiencing amazing things, but kind of peak experience. That's what we're talking about, that there seems to be a lot of peak experiences, both positive and negative, that people are going through right now. And yes, we just finished Lionsgate. We just are going through, there's a lot of energies hitting the planet in terms of what's going on with the sun right now. So there's a lot of energies to support all this chaos. But things are meaningful, as you know. Things don't happen without a meaning, and there is something else to this. And that is what the angels are telling us about in this message, that they are changing the rules in order to support us, to help us grow faster, to help us really unearth more of what's in there. It isn't so much about going faster, because healing takes time, and they acknowledge that, but it's about unearthing the stuff that maybe has been hidden, that has been harder to access. It's creating an environment where more of that is likely to come forward. So if you want to hear more messages like this one, I am publishing every Friday here on YouTube. You can go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell, and that way you won't miss out next time, and I would appreciate it very much. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the message. All right, so here's what they say. We are with you. We are with you. We say we have some time to share our thoughts. We have new beginnings underfoot, new ways of beginning. The tide that follows will be renewing, reconciling yourselves with what has been. You are becoming more fluid in form and willing to understand what will be coming now into reality, what will be in store for humanity, the coming passage of great things beyond. So they're kind of opening here, just telling us that that this tide, this is really what they're hinting at what they're going to be talking about here. That the tide that follows will be renewing and reconciling ourselves to what has been. So this is sort of the tide that we're stepping into now. And you're saying, can't wait to hear positive messages. Yeah, I understand. And there is in this definitely positive messages. So an explanation of what's coming. The veil thins, yourselves become unified. You are renowned in knowing yourselves. So this is what the great things that lie beyond that they're talking about. They're saying the veil thins, yourselves become unified. You are renowned in knowing yourselves. So this is what we're stepping into. And renowned is we really get it, right? We have incorporated our higher selves. They say, you have this passage clear to make your own selves embodied. You have encountered much less friction in existence there. You are all unpacked to awaken. You are all beginning this arrival. You are all welcome. So, and here they're saying that the path is clear. And when they say that you have encountered much less friction in existence there, you are all unpacked to awaken. So to me, this is an interesting thing, because I think we would all say that right now there's a ton of friction in the world, right? That all the friction is coming up to the surface. But I think that's their exact point. They're saying that you are all unpacked to awaken, that everything is coming up to the surface right now. It is all being unpacked so that we can awaken. Everything is rising. So it feels like a lot more friction, but I think they're saying that we are actually encountering less friction as we clear ourselves. So this is this process of unpacking. So you are all beginning this arrival. They go on to say, we have begun an opening of sorting your reality into concealing drifts of awareness into the passage of what seems real for each person. So this is complicated. So I'm going to go slow. I'll say the paragraph and then I'll go back and explain it, because it's a kind of a complex concept, but it's really amazing. It's kind of awesome. And a super great explanation of what's going on. We have begun an opening of sorting your reality into concealing drifts of awareness into the passage of what seems real for each person. We separate your experience from one another, exaggerating the form you feel and encounter. This provides the maximum contact for yourselves to encounter yourself with more rapidity, to encourage your enlightenment, to bring you hither more quickly in time before all heavens are opened upon the selves and chances are not for upliftment. Now is the time you bother, you move, you change within this friction you feel. So they're saying, what they're saying here is that that the rules have changed, that, and they go on to explain this more in the next paragraph, but they're saying that the rules have changed, that in the past, that the way in which we walked on earth is that it's sort of, our lives were kind of blended with other people's. It's like, yes, we created our reality, but there was always sort of like this mishmash of co-creation that was also happening, right? And they're saying that now it's like they've turned it up a little bit, right? They've turned it up to 11. They've intensified it for the purpose of trying to help us encounter ourselves as much as we possibly can. So trying to give us the full dose of you so that you can really see yourself, to see all the nooks and crannies and all the bits, right? That it's like you, like full flavored you. So they've turned this up. They said, we separate your experience from one another, right? They said they're separating, sorting your reality into concealing drifts of awareness into the passage of what seems real for each person. So you can imagine it's like your reality is this sort of, is a drift or a wave that is sort of next to somebody else's, but they don't cross over anymore, where they used to blend and merge. And they're saying not so anymore. They're saying now we separate your experience from one another, exaggerate the form you feel and encounter. So they're exaggerating, turning it up to 11, making you like full time, like, so you really see what's in there, what's inside. So this provides the maximum contact for yourself to encounter yourself more rapidly, to encourage your enlightenment, to bring you hither more quickly in time before all heavens are opened upon the selves. So saying that in the future, when we reach this next state of awareness, it's going to be much harder for us to grow. That it's like when the heavens are open, and they don't mean that like heavens in a bad way. They mean that in a really good way. Like the heavens, when we have access, like much more access to our higher self, when going up and connecting is something that we do in a natural way, that everything is open to us. When we get to that state, we won't have as much, like this karmic experience we're experiencing now is much easier to grow in. And so they're saying, that they're trying to give us every bit of opportunity they can in these last moments to try to get us to kind of purge as much as we can so that we're ready, so that we can make as much progress as possible, is what they're talking about. They're saying that now is the time that you bother, you move, you change within this friction that you feel. So it's like right now, things will create change for you, that things bother you, that you encounter friction, that things are difficult, and that makes you look at yourself. And that's a really great thing, right? And we all have stuff. We all have stuff to look at. All right, they go on to say, it energizes the planet for enrichment. It is a passage separate for each self. Normally, all experience the draft of life as a wind that is shared, but no longer does it appear in this fashion. Now you are apart in your awareness of daily ritual, and perspective does shift and polarize into truths unknown to each other, into realities perceived by you alone. So just think about in the world right now, like how many different perspectives there are and how many extremely different experiences people are having. And how many times do you have in a day where you talk with someone now and they'll talk about something that it's almost like they're living in a different reality where they're so convicted, they're convinced of that truth, and that truth might not be a truth that you share, but for them it is true. And that's true, like across the board, there are so many issues, what we would call polarized issues right now. But for the people who are on one side or the other, that truth is truth. Like they feel it, and and they wonder, how come nobody else can see this? Like for them, it is true. Like this is the truth, and it might not be your truth. So, and this is true on like a million different facets, and it kind of blows my mind. And I don't think I've never known it to be like this. I've never known people to be like this, where it's like we're all living in our own little silos. And so this is really what I'm understanding. And this is how they're explaining it, that they're creating these silos, right? And Rebecca is saying, I can feel that purging for sure. And so it's the polarized is an understatement, isn't it though? It's super polarized. And this is, this explains why. It's really so that we can really project our own junk into our reality fully without this blending and harmonizing that we would normally do under normal circumstances. So All right. So they go on to say this transference, subtle to your awareness, has occurred, and you are adrift in the reality of your own choosing. It houses other beings within who share not your trajectory. This is not how it seems. You are aware of them and they of yourself, but life moves in different directions. So I think it's hard to wrap your head around, but it makes a ton of sense of what's going on in the world right now. And even when you look at the all of the climate change that we're experiencing right now, and the people who are right in the line of fire of climate change, who are in the line of fire literally, or experiencing flooding, like whole villages being washed away, and their experience is so focused and so intense. And in terms of those experiences that are focused and intense, I'm talking about some people who are having like relationship problems or monetary problems or career problems, or like across the board, all the different, and it might be like incredibly intense for them right now, right? And it's a massive, like a full blown expression of whatever it is that's inside of them. And at the same time, I know people who are having incredibly positive experiences where, and it could be the same person having both, having an incredibly negative experience one day, and then the next day something amazing happens. That's also like like turning it up to 11, like an intensification of what's going on. So it blows my mind, and I'm sure you guys are seeing this as well. So all right, so I'll continue on. They say this experience is required for this time of separation of the selves, many cells requiring upliftment. Many more opportunities will be had in this manner. Many chances form as polarized beings encounter one another, as your life more richly portrays your own internal mind into fruition. You see and encounter yourself more fully than before. So this is really the opportunity, is to recognize that what is going on here is to see all the stuff that's rising up, and to recognize this is not a normal time, that it's like it's like, when you're, so my daughter's in college and she just took a summer quarter. She took college classes in the summer quarter, and she didn't realize when she signed up that it was going to be so condensed. So she signed up for a full load in 6 weeks. She was like, the work was like overwhelming, you know what I mean? It was insane. And everybody else took like one class, and here she is with 4. She took a heavy load in a summer in a 6-week condensed course. So she was just by the, hanging on by the skin of her teeth. And that's what this feels like. It feels like we are in the summer quarter, right? We are in that shortened, condensed, tightened period where it's like this stuff is just amplified. All right, they go on to say, this is necessary, for how can we make greater strides toward unity but through polarity? We must first expand and then contract. We pull, then release. It is done fluidly in tempo with the Earth's rising. You rise as well into internal harmony with the self, and then external harmony with each other. Hard won it will be. You achieve it though, you get there. We see it now as it will be. Your reality as it becomes. Beauty emanates from each inhabitant. Each soul of humanity is enlivened and enjoyed, separate but intertwined. So this is really what they're saying. And I love this part about that like, how can we, like, we have to first expand and then contract. And that's true about everything. Like, just like everything starts with a breath, right? And even the universe expands and then contracts. Like, everything goes through this rhythm of growth and then deflation. It's universal truths, like things that are true in the microcosm are true in the macrocosm. So it makes sense that if we're trying to have this kind of change, we have to go through this process, right? That you have to have this expansion of self. And so they're saying, like they say here, like, where was it? Anyways, we must expand and then contract. We have to make greater strides towards unity through polarity. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And the doing it in tempo with the Earth's rising, you rise as well into internal harmony with the self, and then external harmony with each other. So this is the process. So first we encounter the shadow that we have, and encounter all of our remaining stuff that has to come up, and then we're ready to have external harmony, right? It starts within. Everything starts within. So we start here, and then we work out towards each other. And that's that breathing process of expansion and contraction. So, all right, and I love the picture that they paint, that beauty emanates from each inhabitant. Each soul of humanity is enlivened and enjoyed, separate but intertwined. This is that collective consciousness we're heading into. They go on to say, but now, Feel the enrichment of this time, of this infusion of yourself in now. Inhabit fully your own being. Allow your mind to comprehend that which you see as yourself, to see what's out there and recognize that it's you. Let this richness impact your being and extract those dark sores, remorse, guilty feelings, sadness, and shame. Let them rise. Anger, together with friction, it will be felt. Let it. Fear, it comes and wanes. Let it. See yourself. See the richness of your real expression into reality and embrace who you are in depth and profound feeling. So they're really saying that whatever is coming up right now is okay. Like if you're feeling fear, like just acknowledge it. Like look at the fear and say, okay, that fear is in me. I have that fear in me. I wonder why I have that fear in me. But whatever it is, it's okay. I love myself. Even if I have the fear, it's okay to have the fear. And it doesn't mean that there's anything to be afraid of. It just means that I have fear. And that's okay. Right. And to look at whatever's coming up and recognize that everything that's happening out there is just a projection of something that already exists in here. And to accept it and to love it. And that's the hard part, right? But to love it and to say, yeah, that's my fear and I love me because I feel that. So they go on to say, okay, embrace your hardship and trouble. It all serves. It all comes into being to aid in this time of ascendance. Extract yourself from your hidden corners. Let yourself be seen and loved by your own mind, your own being in full truth. Let it be. You are rising through this tumultuous time. You are feeling the precursor to all that dwells in humanity. Let it rise and be seen. Love it now. Love with a compassionate heart as you love yourself. Be willing, be open. It comes, this greater now. In the distance, on the horizon, it comes. Be well. So anyways, I think it really helps to understand what's going on because yeah, we have this craziness out in the world. And you could say, I think any of you could look around and look at the people you know and the people around you and say, yeah, there's just this feeling of chaotic energy. And all these people are coming from different angles. And it makes a ton of sense if you understand that we are all in these silos of our own projection, which they've done to really help us to have a fuller, like where our experience of ourself isn't mitigated by blending with all the people around us. It's like, nope, you are getting full blown your own stuff. And it's a chance, and it's really bringing it up. It's bringing up the depth. So if you're feeling a lot of anxiety right now, which I know a ton of people are, or feeling a lot of fear right now, know that, and it may be more than usual, but think of it whenever you go through a healing, the stuff you have to work through it. It comes up, you feel it, and let it pass out from you, right? The fear that you have isn't a part of you. It's an emotion that's meant to move through you and out and release. Right? Because as they keep saying, it's like they don't want us to be in fear. They don't want us to be fearful. They want us to be hopeful and excited about what's coming. And most of all, they want us to feel love for ourselves and love for other people. And that's where they're really saying, like, look at yourself compassionately. Look at what's coming up for you, what you're going through right now, and have compassion for yourself and love those pieces of yourself that have been wounded. And understand every single wound that you have was a way that you dealt with something difficult. Like there was something hard in your life and you did the best that you could. You tried and did the only thing that was available that you knew how. Maybe you were a child and something horrible happened to you and you coped as best you possibly could. And you developed defense mechanisms. And those defense mechanisms are now in there, but they're no longer serving you. So now they have to be healed. They have to come up and be seen and released and let go. But to be compassionate towards that inner self and recognize that you did the best you possibly could. And that now it's time to forgive whatever it is you feel needs forgiving within your own self, and to love yourself, to love that piece of you that coped as best as she or he could, right? To love that boy, you're resilient because you went through that and you're still here. So it's a lot to think about, but to recognize what's going on, that, yeah, it's so fascinating. The rules have changed, that we're no longer in this blended experience, that we're in this very isolated experience. In this process, we have to isolate, right, first, and then in order to then expand and connect with each other and have this more universal consciousness. It's a contraction followed by an expansion, right? Just like this, at every breath, you breathe in, contract, expand. It makes a ton of sense. So anyways, I really like this message. I hope it's inspiring for you guys. I hope you feel seen and loved. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you guys. And thank you very much for the kind comments, you guys. I really appreciate it. And Rebecca is saying, such a great reminder just to be present and not thinking something is wrong with me. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, sending you guys big hugs. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Friday Live. Bye-bye.